Dialed up, face-up shot, misses the tip-in by Johnson.
Next on ACC Live, tip, 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 boom. Reggie Johnson keeps Miami perfect in the ACC. And since he's come back from a broken finger, he's making more of an impact in each game. Is he the best big body in the conference? What about Mason Plumlee or Alex Len? JR Reid weighs in on what makes the perfect center. And
Mark Godfrey to the North Carolina State Wolfpack pick up a win against #1 and previously undefeated Duke.
Duke gets a shot at payback. What's changed since the Blue Devils lost to NC State 3 weeks ago? A look ahead to Thursday's rematch. ACC Live Breakdown is now. Welcome to a new week of ACC Live. I'm Jeff Fischel. He's North Carolina NBA great JR Reid. He joins me every Monday to break down ACC action. Hey, JR, the Ravens. Hey, congrats to all Baltimore Ravens fans, right? The Ravens.
Yes.
Were you watching the Super Bowl last night?
I watched a little bit. Then they watched me during the blackout. I took a little 30-minute hiatus during the game. That's all.
Is that the nice way of saying you fell asleep?
I fell asleep. I'm old, man.
So how much of the game did you miss?
I missed when I woke up. It was a 3-point game. So I just considered.
So you missed a couple of 49ers touchdowns?
Just a couple. Just a few, man.
It ended up being
it's
a great game.
It's a basketball show. See,
you saw the fourth quarter, which is important. Well, in honor of the Super Bowl, we're going to turn off all the lights here on the show from 12:08 to 12:12. No, 13 former ACC stars are getting Super Bowl rings. That's how many players from ACC schools were either on the field last night for the Ravens, on the team's practice squad, or on the injured reserve list. You saw Torrey Smith, of course, from Maryland. There's Anquan Bolden, who had 6 catches to lead the Ravens, 100 yards receiving, the game's first touchdown. Ed Reed had a pick, Ray Lewis 7 tackles, so a big night for guys who went to ACC schools. Today, we want to know from you, who's the best center in the ACC? Tweet us your vote at the ACCDN, the best big men in the conference. Maybe this weekend changed your vote. Let's do the rewind. One big man who's not getting a lot of love, Robert Carter Jr., strong game against UVA in the win for Georgia Tech.
Oh, absolutely. The big young fella came with it, especially in the second half, and was able to get them this victory. Great play in the interior by the big young guy.
That's the second conference win for Georgia Tech. Another team that got its second conference win, Boston College over Clemson.
Oh, absolutely. Joe Rayhan was perfect from outside. Well, almost perfect. A career high 26 points, but 6 for 7 from the threes. That was what really did it for Boston College.
He's having a fantastic all-around freshman year. He also had 4 rebounds and 4 assists in that game. North Carolina held off Virginia Tech in overtime.
Yeah, big game by Marcus Page. Shook off the bad game he had last week. Came back with a career high 19 points and 8 in the overtime victory for the Heels. Won 5 out of the last 6.
Tar Heels playing well. Duke gets a big win, dominating Florida State.
Yeah, Jeff, this wasn't even close. They led from the beginning, and the great guard play led by Seth Curry's 21 points, Quinn Cook 18 points. Great all-around perimeter play. They didn't really need Mason Plumlee.
A balanced effort from the Terps in the win over Wake Forest.
Yes, they get off the snide a little bit here. Their offense has been a little stagnant of late, but they were able to come and get a good all-around performance from everyone, 6 players in double figures.
So a 16-point win for the Terps. And what a game in Raleigh. Miami had chances to put away the Wolfpack, but struggled from 3-point range, then down 1 with the ball. The final seconds, Reggie Johnson tipped in the follow with .8 left to give the Canes a 79-78 win. Miami now 17-3 overall. 8-0 in the ACC. JR, break down that game-winning basket for me.
Well, Jeff, it was great. You know, they gave themselves the opportunity to be in it. They put the ball in their best ball handler's hands, and Larkin did the rest. Here, they run a great set. Double high pick and roll. He can choose the other way to go. Comes off Reggie Johnson. He rolls into the post to the front of the rim where you know he's going to be. Scott Wood has to hold him to his defender, gets back to Reggie. But when Scott leaves to go to that 3-point line, Reggie's the bigger dog here, and he's bigger than Richard Howell, and he eats first. And he's able to get a great tip in. Just great position. And look, great rebounders all have the equalizer. That's a little equalizer, you know? And that's all, just a little tap, little love tap. And then he was able to finish with a nice tip in with the left hand. And a sensational win from Miami, who's just playing phenomenal basketball.
Miami's number 2 in the country in RPI. Only Duke is ahead. That's right. The ACC is 1 and 2 in RPI. Could we see the ACC get 2 #1 seeds? Saturday was just Reggie Johnson's 4th game back after missing several games with a broken thumb. You could see Coach Jim Larrañaga increasing his minutes, and Reggie is increasing his production. A non-factor, really, in that 27-point win over Duke. Saturday, a great game against the Wolfpack. 15 points, 8 rebounds, with Kenny Kaji Julian Gamble, and Reggie Johnson, Miami causes all kinds of matchup problems for every team in the country. So is Reggie Johnson the best center in the ACC? What about Mason Plumlee? Richard Howell's putting up great numbers. What about Alex Len? Tweet us your vote at the ACCDN. We'll read your comments coming up in just a few minutes. JR is going to build the perfect center block by block, piece by piece, and he's going to reveal who he thinks is the best in the conference. Right now, let's take a look at the weekly menu. Tomorrow, 3 games. JR, we're talking about the centers. Miami goes up against BC's Ryan Anderson.
Ryan Anderson is formidable in the post, but I think Miami just has too much for him inside with all the bodies you just mentioned, man. He's playing great ball.
Very nice all-around player, but again, Miami has 3 bigs. No games Wednesday. It's National Signing Day. I'm sure that's not a coincidence. Thursday, Clemson, Virginia is an interesting matchup.
Battle of the Oranges. You know, Clemson's trying to get back on the right track, but UVA, lost a close one, but I look for them to come out and be ready to prepare.
And then Duke and North Carolina State. The Wolfpack beat the Blue Devils 3 weeks ago, but that was Duke's first game without Ryan Kelly. The Blue Devils look much more comfortable now, I think, finding open looks for the guys on the perimeter.
I think they've all responded well with Ryan Kelly's injury being out. I think everyone has really sucked it up, found their roles here, and now really performing. Even with Seth Curry was a little banged up.
That's right. He's only really practicing 1 day a week. All season long, that's been the case. If NC State loses, JR, the Pack will be 5-5 in conference. They were the preseason pick to win the ACC. Are you worried at all about this team, or you still think they'll have a great March?
I'm not as worried about them because their losses have come because of injuries. Not having Low Brown on the court has really hurt them trying to get their offense situated. But I think they're going to be okay. They have lost 4 out of their last 6 games, so they need a good performance here coming up at Duke.
We weren't sure if Low Brown would play Saturday against Miami. We're still waiting to see how he recovers from that sprained ankle. By the way, Duke, North Carolina State, Thursday, 9 p.m. on the ACC Network. Check your local listings for that one. Duke Johnson and Stephon Diggs made their marks last year as freshmen. Who will this year? Wednesday's National Signing Day. We have a very special ACC Live on Wednesday at noon. We break down every recruiting class in the ACC. J.C. Sherbert, recruiting guru for 24/7 Sports. He and I have already been talking about every team, how they're doing, who could finish strong with some last-second signings. That's Wednesday at noon, ACC Live. Tomorrow, trending. Kelly Nash and I talk about all the topics that ACC fans are buzzing about. Again, Wednesday, that very special signing show. Did you notice when sitcoms promote very special editions, it always means it's very serious?
Yeah, parental guidance is
right, exactly. Very special episode of Friends. Or Blossom, a show I've never seen, but it seemed like every promo is a very special Blossom. Then Thursday's Throwback Friday is tip-off. Okay, coming up on ACC Live, is Mason Plumlee the best center in the ACC? What about Alex Len, Richard Howell, Reggie Johnson? Tweet us at the ACCDN. Your votes and comments next.
Out with the old and in with the delicious. Commit to bold taste with the new Flavor Resolutions menu at Ruby Tuesday. 10 entrees starting at $9.99. Try our savory barbecue brushed ribs and bacon wrapped shrimp. Or take it up a notch by adding coconut crusted shrimp to our mango salsa topped Caribbean chicken. Plus, enjoy our endless garden bar, free with any chef inspired entree. Ruby Tuesday. It's all good here. Start the new year with savings. Visit rubytuesday.com today for a $5 coupon.
What's better, bigger or smaller?
Bigger!
So which would you rather have, a big treehouse or a small treehouse?
If it's big enough, you can have a disco. Oh, yeah.
Why do you not want a smaller treehouse?
Because it wouldn't be able to fit a flat screen TV, and then the TV would be about this big, and you would have to hold the wire. In the position you would hold the wire, you wouldn't be able to see the TV.
That's a pain in the buns.
Yep. Yeah.
It's not complicated. Bigger is better, and AT&T has the nation's largest 4G network.
The ACC Digital Network, the ultimate video destination for ACC fans. Exclusive highlights, live streaming games, and original live programming, unique access to the student athletes of our time and the legendary voices of all time. Defining moments, personal stories, incredible analysis from authentic ACC sources, cutting-edge content from the leaders in the digital space. The ACC Digital Network, brought to you by Ruby Tuesday.
Good afternoon, Chase Sapphire. This is Stacy from Springfield.
Oh,
Hello?
yes, I didn't realize you'd be talking to an actual person.
You don't need to press 0. I'm here.
Reach a person, not a prompt, whenever you call Chase Sapphire.
This Dunk of the Day brought to you by Ruby Tuesday.
The last to correct an ACL tear in the left knee. Sustained just a couple of months. Oh, and a put-back dunk! Nasty finish by Rodney Purvis.
Most guards take it and settle and run some offense. Not Rodney.
That right there may be the play of the year in college basketball.
Share the love this Valentine's with a free dessert when you make reservations on RubyTuesday.com.
Welcome back to ACC Live. I'm Jeff Fischel. He's JR Reid. That was an awesome dunk. Rodney Purvis.
Pretty good.
But was that the best dunk in the ACC this season? Now, this is something that had us debating in this newsroom pretty much all morning leading up to the show. I think another strong candidate is Mason Plumlee. He did this against Maryland. This isn't just going up strong. This is chasing down a board all the way from the three-point line. The reverse follow, JR.
In traffic, in the paint. I'm with you when you're right, Jeff.
I think that is the dunk of the year in the ACC. I mean, he comes all the way from the three-point line over Alex Len. Come on.
That's pretty good. Kaz doesn't agree with me.
Our producer Kaz, he doesn't agree. But you, in fact, do you think that's the best, or do you think there's no?
No, I'm going with Alex Len. The jab step, baseline, dunk backwards over the Player of the Year candidate, Mason Plumlee. Look at that. This is a 7'2" guy getting it done, putting it down, showing the agility. I love that, man.
Those two dunks were from the same game.
He one-upped them. He one-upped Mason Plumlee in that.
You have Purvis, Plumlee, or Len. What's the best dunk in the ACC this season? Tweet us at the ACCDN. He's at JR Reid 7. I'm at Jeff Fischel. Tell us we're right. Tell us we're wrong. JR's never wrong. But we disagree on this. So, by the way, coming up starting next week, it's the month of Dunkuary. The best dunks in ACC history, and you will help us decide the best dunk ever in the ACC. All right, now it's time for some other headlines across the conference. Here's what's happening in the ACC now. The Duke women win again. They're now 10-0 in the ACC. 84-63 over North Carolina. The Blue Devils looking so good. A big win over their rivals, taking down North Carolina, then 10-0 in the ACC. Boston College. The Beanpot starts tonight, going for a fourth straight Beanpot title. If you don't know about the Beanpot, this is huge in Boston. The Eagles take on Harvard at 8. That's after Boston U and Northeastern in the other game. The winners face off next Monday in the Beanpot final again. This is huge in Boston. And congrats to Warren Sapp, headed to the NFL Hall of Fame. He was elected this weekend. A former ACC school guy, right, from Miami, but he says he's not the only Buccaneer. One of his former teammates, Derek Brooks, he predicts Brooks from Florida State will also head to the Hall of Fame one day, and that is the ACC now. All right, so we're talking about big men. Who's the best center in the ACC? Tweet us at the ACCDN. We're talking about this because of Reggie Johnson's game-winning tip Saturday against NC State. It was a must-see moment.
Larkin. Down to 7 seconds. Larkin dribbling right. Bottled up. Face-up shot. Misses the tip-in by Johnson. 0.8 remaining. Purvis fires, and it nearly went as the Hurricanes come to Raleigh and steal one against NC State.
Okay, JR, let's build the perfect center. The game has changed a lot, though, right? Centers, once upon a time, they stood there on the block, they didn't move, they just put their hands in the air, and they caused all kinds of problems. What's it take to be a great center in 2013?
Well, it's a little different from when I played in the centers and what the centers are doing now. Back in my day, they were a lot stronger, more physical. Today, you want your center to be more athletic, can move a little bit better, contest shots at the rim. And I got a couple things I like to see in my center. The first is length. Alex Len, he's 7'2" around the basket. Nice footwork, good touch, and he does this. He finishes everything in the paint. This is what you wanted your big guy to do. Be long, be athletic, and be something on the court. Bring something positive to the court. He's a good player, but I see him getting much better than if he stays in school another year.
Alex Len has the one thing you cannot teach. That's height.
That's it. That's it.
Now, you've got to be tough down low on the post. Who's the guy that's best at banging, getting that great post position?
Well, Jeff, you know I like this. I like physical, big guys inside. And this, again, we talked about him earlier, Reggie Johnson. His ability to create space in the post. He gives you the shoulder, up and unders. Look at 25, didn't want any parts of Big Reg down on that low box. And this is what happens. You have to guard him. You have to realize you're going to have to send somebody to double him because he's a big man that gets low position, good hands, turnaround jump shots, jump hooks, and he occupies space in there. And you love to see that from your big fella in the post.
All right, let's go to the other end, the defensive side of the floor. Who's the best at altering and blocking shots?
Altering shots. Now, here's a guy that kind of jumped on the scene this year, being a starter, Julian Gamble. I really like what he brings to the table. Offside defender, right there, coming, blocking it with the left hand. Again, He's able to meet the ball at his highest point. Doesn't pick up a lot of silly fouls. Uses his body well. But what I like about him defensively is his energy. He brings it every game, and he's really loving his opportunity to get quality minutes here for University of Miami.
One other factor we look at with big man, who wipes the glass clean? Who's best at rebounding in the ACC?
Oh, man, this is an easy one right here. This goes to, man, at Duke, Mason Plumlee. He eats up rebounds in his position, but what makes him a spectacular rebounder is that he can rebound range. Rebounds out of his position. He can move. He can go above the rim. He can go left to the right. He crashes the offensive board and finishes above the rim. These are some of the attributes that are going to make Mason Plumlee one of the most highly sought after big men in the country this year.
So we're asking you on Twitter, who's the best center in the ACC? We're getting your votes. Our Twitter feed at the ACCDN. Let's look and see what we had to say. Ronnie Taborn, always great following us on the show. He votes for Mason Plumlee, and this is a North Carolina guy saying Plumlee's the man.
Hey, Ronnie knows his basketball. You give credit where credit is due. You know, he gets it done.
Bryce Berryhill tweeted us as well. He says it's Richard Howell. Richard Howell, again, doesn't get all the attention, but he puts up great numbers.
He does. He's a big body, but on that next level, it's going to be a little harder for him being the size he is. I like to see him be a little taller to be a center in the NBA.
He's a college center. Might not, probably going to have to play some 4, no doubt, in the NBA. And Sean Crest, he changed the game a little bit. Dalton Freeman, of course, he's a football center. He's a great center for Clemson. Man, he will go high in the NFL draft. But
he's the strongest. He'll be the strongest center we have in this segment.
All right, so JR, we've gotten some votes. Now I want to know from you. Give me your top 3 centers in the ACC. Start with number 3.
I'll start with number 3, Jeff. I'm going to go with Alex Len. I think he has the biggest upside of all the centers that we've talked about. He has the potential to be a great NBA player.
Is he ready now? Could he go? Would you suggest to him stay, or would you say he should stay another year?
Jeff, you didn't listen to me. He has the potential to be
potential means stick around for at least another year.
But potential gets you paid. He's going to be a dominating big man if he decides to come back in the ACC next season.
All right, that's number 3. Number 2.
The 2, I got to go with Reggie Johnson because he is a great space eater in college basketball. His ability to stake out his claim in the paint. On the next level, it might not be the strong player that he is in college, but I love what he does in the ACC.
And number 1 is?
Mason Plumlee. You've got to go with Mason Plumlee. It's everything that he does. His athletic ability, playing above the rim, blocking shots, rebounding, and even works for him in the press offense. He does it all.
Those are your top centers in the ACC. Now let's hear from JR and his power rankings in the conference. JR, you have to have Miami at number 1 at this point, I would think, the way they're playing. Yes. Duke, NC State. You have Virginia 4 despite the loss to Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I still do. That's going to be close between them and North Carolina. You could swipe those 2 around, but I like the way UVA is playing.
And then Florida State, Maryland, Clemson. Things get jumbled there. You still like the Seminoles.
I still like the Seminoles. They're a late-performing team. They get better as the season progresses.
All right, so those are the power rankings. Do you agree with JR? Do you agree with his rankings for the top 3 centers in the ACC? Tweet us at the ACCDN. Like I said, it's fine. You could tell us why we're wrong. We'll respond to you. That's all right. Not that we're wrong very often. That's ACC Now. Remember, Kelly Nash and I tomorrow doing the trending show, and then Wednesday a special ACC Live for National Signing Day. Thanks for watching.